This is Paladins OB47, and along with all the other features I covered in my update video, we have a buff to the master and charmer of our favourite legless reptiles, Snecks, and that's damba. Basically, the buff comes in the form of a projectile speed increase of the Sneck Venom Gob from 160 to 180. Now, whilst it might not mean a lot to you and might not sound a lot, it basically means that you can fire further because with more speed the drop arc is widened, and essentially you get less drop closer to that mid-range sort of zone, and just less drop in general. I would like to mention that in the gameplay today, I've had real trouble with my internet and my ping kept jumping to 990, which is the highest it will show, but I'm guessing it must have been higher because it was on there solidly. So my gameplay was split up a bit, I was getting a bit tilted, but actually I've won all my games that I've played with damba today, and I've only played him, so it went okay. I wouldn't say that I'm anywhere close to a pro damba, and I did try to play him in the Nations Cup where we played alongside Bugsy and a few other players of the UK group, and we tried to play for UK, and I played mainly as a healer and played quite a bit of damba. And he was one of the champions I was thinking, I need to improve on this chap very much so, because I'm not really a support player. But just to let you know as you look through and judge all of this gameplay. But anyway, what does this actually mean and why is it important? Well, one thing it does mean is that it's easy to fight and heal as you normally would do in the previous versions, because you sort of want to be out of most of the action because you're quite squishy, and you want to be able to see as many of your allies as possible to put the heal on them, so that you're not obscured from trying to heal one ally or another. And often it's best to hide in some cover to the side, away from the main point, if one of your tanks is on there and you're healing them there. And now with this less drop and you can basically shoot further, it means that you don't have to exactly be in people's faces to do damage as well as heal at the same time. Before, you had to sort of sacrifice a lot of your damage to do the healing from a distance and not be stuck in the fights. Another point is that it just generally makes it easier to hit other players. Because your projectiles are moving faster, you have to lead less, you have to give less thought to the drop, so you can secure damage a lot more easily. You can do a few more of the skill shots and actively deny doorways and things by aiming upwards and arcing them across. But one of the upsides of having a projectile that arcs like that is that you can fire above cover from below cover and basically arc over it. And you can fire in Stone Creep, you can fire through the doorways and fire to the edge and knock people off whilst you're behind cover underneath a wall. And also in the same light, you can stand on the payload, because as a support you'll probably be on the payload a lot with letting all your other players, including the frontliner, go forwards and deny people, knock them off. It just gives you more ability to do some damage if they're at mid-range, whilst just standing on that payload and basically just babysitting it to the enemy's base. Another thing that's worth talking about is that on my Paladins, which shows stats and win rates of all champions, damba has the lowest win rate as a support champion. Now there's two sides to this, so in the competitive scene damba has in a lot of matches been the first support pick, and it's partly because of their huge single target healing potential, and it's been extremely successful in healing when you need healing and getting it on the right target, whereas Ying is a bit more random. But obviously it was pushed aside a little bit when Ying had the 100% heal on the lifelike, when you could basically heal two allies at the same time, but both had 100%, now it's reduced to 70%, so less useful. And also his ultimate with some team focus can team wipe and is very good, especially in those competitive games when you know it's coming. And just generally his general area heal and control properties with his gourd also make him a strong champ in general. And also there's a bit of the cheesier side with the stun snecks, but just in general he is a very strong healer and a champion with a lot of tricks up their sleeves, especially when they're played to their best. Now there's some problems that come out a lot in casual games and lower skill games, and the first one is that the right click, the actual heal itself, does require some aim, and there is a card to reduce the cooldown if you do miss. But even so, just having that aim in there makes the skill ceiling a bit higher. Like I said before, the ultimate to be really successful does rely on your team to know that it's going to come out, and sometimes it's not always there, so you put down your ultimate, your team might not react to it straight away, and it might be a little bit wasted. And obviously without voice callouts and things, maybe being on a Discord or some sort of chat server, you might miss out on some of the utility of that ultimate. And before this patch, you did have to be very up close and in people's faces if you did want to do damage, which meant that your healing was less reliable because you couldn't see as many allies and probably couldn't get as much healing off as reliably. And also the drop meant you had to compensate a lot for the drop, fire above enemies' heads, and if you wanted to do lots of damage, you sort of have to ignore healing at the same time. So you sort of were stuck between healing and damage, especially at the mid-range, where you have to compensate a lot for the drop. And I think all of these things made Maldamba a lot higher in the skill floor. I think these factors made him worse in lower level games, and also made him have a much higher skill floor than, say, Ying as a support champion, and that ability to do healing and damage consistently. And the new change definitely has made it much easier to heal from several meters away, so having the best view of the battleground to heal your allies, and put out some consistent fire at the same time. And I think the skill floor argument is quite interesting, but also in just generally making the champion more fun to play. And like I said in my What Makes a Good Healer video, which was about mainly Ying, was that this update, whilst not buffing damage directly, allows you to be more active in engagements whilst not needing to sacrifice as much damage as you did before with the healing, and maybe not focusing 100% on just right-clicking on an ally character. And like I said about good healers in games, it's that partly that a lot of people don't want to play support simply healing in your team or being sort of a passive role in the game and being completely a support to your allies. So basically just keeping them alive. What makes them more appealing is that they are more fun in that you're able to do active things, not just passive, you're active in doing damage, and this makes them more attractive to those non-support mains and goes some way to stopping people from picking 5 damage champions every game. So here, with a very small change, I feel that they've pulled up the skill floor whilst really not too much affecting the skill ceiling or potential top performance of Maldamba or the champion itself, as the champion was already performing very well in those high level games, but that skill floor was kind of what was needed to bring him to the other games. And maybe playing Maldamba a bit aggressively before was more damaging to your heals, and perhaps meant that the win rate was lower because of that reason, and perhaps newer players not playing him correctly or wanting to be more aggressive with him. But obviously with more range, more reliable projectiles, this does benefit better players and is just generally a buff, but in its effect is mostly lifting the skill floor and just generally making the champion more fun and engaging to play. So has anyone else been playing the Snake Master this patch? And if so, what are your thoughts on how he is at the moment? Are you having fun? Do you think he's in a good place? Do you think he's too good, too bad? And is there anything that you would change about the champion at all? Be sure to let me know in the comments section below. If you thought this video was snacktastic, give it a like. Subscribe for more of my content, and I'll see you all next time. Snackino.